Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of 8 Minutes with Activate. In this episode, we're joined by Ben Kay from our partners at Mintsoft. Ben, thank you for joining us today. For some of our viewers who may be unaware, can you tell us about Mintsoft and the solutions you offer?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, thanks for having me. Essentially, Mintsoft. Primarily, it's a warehouse and order management system, really. So you sort of things you'd expect with sort of knowing where stock is and how much you have and what's due in, what's running low, that kind of thing. Order management with that kind of pick, pack, dispatch process. And then I guess the slightly different thing with Mintsoft is the 3PL aspect of it as well. So if you're sort of a warehouse, offering that I guess storage services, fulfillment services to clients or customers of yours, then you've got the functionality in Mintsoft for that as well in terms of, I guess, keeping them all separate and on an individual basis and automating the billing, that kind of thing as well. So yeah, sort of WMS, OMS, but with a 3PL twist, really, I guess.
Being in the e-commerce and fulfillment arenas, how has COVID-19 impacted the company? Has the uptake in online commerce impacted the day-to-day for Mintsoft?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, it has. Obviously across e-commerce as a whole, anyway, massive impact on the industry, but that has rolled over to us. Obviously providing a system for the industry. So yeah, we're seeing a big change, big impact. We've had to increase teams across the product, I guess. So from even the sales team, onboarding team, but then sort of support and development. It's been massive growth internally, but yeah, in terms of the customer base and just the demand for the system, it's been a big change. Yeah, it's been a big impact.
What would you say are some of the platform features that clients are particularly engaging with during this period? Would you say there's been a shift in the types of questions and inquiries that you're getting at the moment?
Yeah, there has. I'd say one in particular is barcode scanning, I would say, for existing customers and new actually as well. I think, it's a funny one actually from sort of conversations that I've had with people, picking inefficiencies, you sort of expect them to go up in line with the order volumes, but there tends to be this kind of like multiplier effect. So where you've got someone maybe doing 10,000 orders a month, with like 1% picking inefficiency, so they're doing like 100 missed picks a month, let's say, where they sort of doubled the order volumes throughout the pandemic to sort of 20,000 a month. They would sort of expect to do 200 a month, but actually they're sort of finding they're doing sort of 300, 400, 500 missed picks a month. But it just started growing. So I think, picking inefficiency became a big issue because it's just very costly. So barcode scanning became a big thing people were looking for, just in terms of even getting a system in place anyway from scratch. They were sort of thinking about doing that just for barcode scanning. So I'd say that's been a big trend, across all the customers.
And do you think there's been a change in how people view your offerings compared to before the pandemic started?
I would. I think a lot of people would have looked at Mintsoft before as something to sort of help them pick orders. Really, that was kind of people's interpretation of what the sort of an order management, warehouse management system would have done. I think they kind of thought, if they do 1,000 orders a week, they think, well, we can cater to 2,000 a week, so we'll be okay with our growth. Once it happened, though, the snowball effect it has across the whole warehouse is what they kind of noticed. If they're picking twice as much, they're replenishing twice as much, they're booking twice as much stock in, holding twice as much stock, whatever it might be. And then the demand, I think, across the rest of the warehouse was something that people soon realised is what they probably need a system for, really. So I think they started looking at it a little bit different. Yeah.
And the past year has been a really hectic period for most companies. Is there a project that you've been particularly excited about on the horizon for Mintsoft?
There's probably a few. I don't know if I can name names at the minute, but it's because the last 12 months we've been so, I guess, focused on more like adapting the system, really, in a way. We've got sort of existing customers getting all this sort of new demand and new requirements that we're catering to. Then we've got new customers coming on with their own unique requirements that we sort of develop things for and adapt to. Plus Brexit, I can't forget about Brexit. The changes we need to make for that and cater to that. So we've been very focused on adapting rather than pushing forward, which is how we always used to do everything. So now with the bulk of that behind us, I guess, and a bigger development team, we're back to looking forward, which is really exciting. So yeah, I'm hearing some exciting things. We're all warehouse geeks this side anyway, so all those features gets all a little bit excited in anticipation for it, more than it should probably. But yeah, so we're really looking forward to a few things that we know are coming and sort of hitting the development roadmap now, but they're still allocating the resource and figuring out timelines. So can't say much on it, but yeah, it's definitely like a watch this space kind of situation. Yeah, there'll be some good announcements, sure, soon, I'm sure. Yeah.
So before we go, I just wanted to ask: is there any kind of final words of wisdom or thoughts that you want to share with some of our viewers?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I would probably say that it's just a kind of like settle into this. Really, I think in terms of kind of the e-commerce growth, not sort of COVID itself, but yeah, I think a lot of people early days were kind of thinking this is a bit of a spike and it was going to come back down. But e-commerce was always on this upward trajectory just naturally, So I think we actually just obviously added more momentum and accelerated the process. I think we're where we expected to be, just ahead of schedule. So I don't think it's going to come back down. It's just going to continue to grow, maybe back at its sort of natural pace. So I just sort of say to people, yeah, just take the coats off, settle in. I think just make sure you're suited to this new volume, this new demand. It's just going to continue. So
fantastic. Thank you for joining us today, Ben.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me.
Thank you everyone for watching. If you have any questions, make sure to follow and get in touch with Team Activate.